You know, on the surface, a review of The Emperor's New Groove might seem random to some of you. If you've been with me for a while, though, this doesn't seem out of the ordinary. Because this is a Disney anniversary and a half. Emperor's New Groove turns 25 years old this year. And for some of you who grew up with this movie, I'm sure you probably feel about as old as I feel right now revealing that. Holy freaking heck, man. But honestly, surface level, like, this movie should not have worked. We follow an arrogant young emperor named Kuzco, voiced by David Spade. Dear God, yeah, David Spade. He's transformed into a llama, you heard me, by his power-hungry advisor, the devious diva Yzma. Kuzco is stranded in the jungle, and his only chance to get back home and reclaim the high life rests with a good-hearted peasant named Pacha, voiced by John Goodman, one of the greatest character actors who ever lived. And together they must return Kuzco to the throne before Yzma tracks them down and finishes him off. Okay, so when I was a kid, I never really got into The Emperor's New Groove. I didn't really get the appeal of it. Because yeah, you have David Spade as a goddamn llama. Like really, this is Disney, right? Disney, over the past decade before Emperor's New Groove, was putting out hits like Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, Aladdin, hell, even Tarzan the year before. Even as a kid, I was looking at the trailers on tapes. I was like, there's no way. There's no way this is Disney. But you know what? I finally stooped and I finally watched it when I was much older, and I was like, oh my god, Emperor's New Groove is actually kind of funny. Matter of fact, it's consistently hilarious. And listen, even though I will say I am not the biggest David Spade fan in the world, I never really understood why people thought he was necessarily funny. I'm not saying he's unfunny. I mean, he definitely has his hits. I like him in Tommy Boy, for instance. But I don't know if it's his delivery or just the way he says certain things, but I just never really found him all that funny. And also, it doesn't help that his recent filmography is mainly Adam Sandler projects like, god damn, both grown-ups movies. He was in The Benchwarmers, though, which is a movie I really liked as a kid, but now I'm looking at it at 28 years old and I'm like, The Benchwarmers kind of sucks. But here as Kuzco, I didn't really think he was all that bad. I think he definitely sells the arrogance of this character. And yeah, there is a point where it feels like I'm rooting against our hero because he's so cocky and full of himself. But it's never really turn off the TV level of hatred for him. Like, you laugh at him because he's so full of himself. But then again, you also laughed at characters like Gaston because he was full of himself at first too. But he never really goes deep into the dark side like Gaston does. Like, it always feels like Kuzco is one step away from turning into a villain himself. But that's where the balance comes in the form of Pacha, voiced by John Goodman, who honestly, like, this is such a likable character. And it's such a likable voice for him, too. Shortly after Emperor's New Groove, in fact, a year after, he would go on to do Monsters, Inc. He voiced Sully. And it was so funny, because Lindsay was sitting right here when we were rewatching Emperor's New Groove for the purposes of this review. And Lindsay listens to Pacha say a few sentences, and she has this look on her face, like she recognizes the voice, but she can't think of him. And then she finally realizes, she's like, Sully? I was like, yep, that is one of the greatest character actors who ever lived, honey. And then she says something like, I know, but I'm not that great with names. Love you, sweetie. But yeah, the relationship between Pacha and Kuzco is very fun. I like how they team up in certain instances to get them out of peril. Of course, the scene where both have to walk up different sides of a cliff to save themselves is very fun. Speaking of fun, these two would not be in this mess if not for the villains of this movie, who I feel like are the highlights. Yzma is animated so over the top, and she's just so energetic and so full of life. But come on, I feel like everybody remembers The Emperor's New Groove for Patrick Warburton as Kronk. This guy is just so delightfully stupid. And it's like, aw, he was manipulated into helping out this evil sorceress. He's all brawn, no brain. But he is fluent in squirrel talk. Squeaker, squeak, 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 squeak. That is a horrible Patrick Warburton impression. I'm working on it. Some of my friends have it better doing a Patrick Warburton impression if they watch him in the video for Soarin'. You know, this one.
Hello and welcome to Soarin'. My name is Patrick and I'll be your chief flight attendant today.
Nice work, champ. Yeah, he did that video for Soarin' probably around the time he was doing Emperor's New Groove. The timeline kind of lines up, because DCA opened in 2001, I think? Anyway, listen to me go off and on about Disney trivia. But this movie is definitely heartfelt. It has a lot of super fun scenes. The scene at the restaurant in particular I found incredibly funny this time around. And I think for a lot of people, it's a pretty hidden favorite. Like, it definitely, Emperor's New Groove has its fan base. And I'm not going to sit here and deny it. It's almost like another version of Hercules. Like, I know Hercules has its fans also, but it's not universally beloved like something like Beauty and the Beast or Aladdin. And I definitely see why New Groove has its fans. Like, it's not a perfect movie by any stretch. There's some jokes that definitely don't land. And yeah, on rewatches, there are points where I can get super annoyed with Cusco, and I'm like, why am I supposed to root for you? I'm sorry, like, you have it all and you're spoiled and you're just gloating about it. Why should I root for you? And yeah, the fact that he's voiced by David Spade also doesn't really help matters because I'm not really that big of a fan of David Spade. But everything else around the main character is just so fun and so full of energy. The villains are so gut-bustingly hilarious this time around. And yeah, I just think Emperor's New Groove is really fun. I think it's one of the more hidden gems in Disney's library, especially post-Renaissance when Disney was putting out hit after hit after hit. Emperor's New Groove, I feel like, can get lost in the shuffle from time to time. I'm going to give Emperor's New Groove a B+. Consistently funny and unwaveringly experimental in its comedy. Like, if you don't believe me, you should rewatch Emperor's New Groove at some point soon, and just to see how many jokes they actually attempt. Like, it's mind-blowing, guys. Let me know what you thought of this one down in the comments, and what do you think are the most underrated Disney movies out there? I know there's a fair few out there, like this one. My personal opinion, Hunchback of Notre Dame is the most underrated Disney movie of all time. But I love what I do here. I love discussing all things Disney, all new things in the cinematic world with you guys. Hit that subscribe button if you're new, and tap on that thumbs up as well. Thank you guys so much again for recently getting the channel to 2,000 subscribers. Now we begin the march to 3,000 and beyond. If you haven't subscribed yet, what in the world are you guys waiting for? Thank you again so much for tuning in, my friends. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.